Hi and welcome back to another tutorial. I've held on to my beautiful summer makeup model, Jessica, to do another focus, this time on eyeliner, different shapes of eyeliner, trying to understand exactly how eyeliner fits on every individual out there that has a problem to try and get the perfect flick, the perfect extension to their eye makeup. Hopefully some of the things that I'm going to talk through today is going to be able to give you a better indication on the best technique, the best method, the best sort of product to use to get the perfect flick for your eye. So you can look at Jessica, you can say, yes, she's very young skin, it's very easy to do eyeliner on her, which is completely true. However, not every single person can have the same type of eyeliner. Is it an age thing? Well, sometimes it can be a factor. Is it the product they're using? Most definitely. Sometimes it's the wrong product for the wrong person and it's the wrong type of look. So here are a couple of things that I like to point out when I'm doing this type of class. I try to tell students to look for certain things that'll make it a little bit easier to decide on which product, which style of eyeliner, the angle of your eyeliner, the thickness of your eyeliner. All of those things have to be worked out so you know exactly what you're doing on your own eye shape. First of all, look at yourself in the mirror straight ahead. When you're looking straight ahead, how much of your actual eyelid can you see? Is there a very small space, or do you have quite a broad space from the end of your lashes to the hollow of your socket line? If you've lots of space, brilliant. Your liner can be a little bit thicker. If you've very little space, then your liner unfortunately needs to be kept a lot thinner, unless you're going to go for quite a dramatic eye. Because if you've very little space and you do a thick eyeliner, then unfortunately when the eye is open, it's just going to look like black eyeshadow all over the entire lid. Then you have to sometimes take on board the shape of the eye. So to do that, and I watch a lot of YouTubers talking about the perfect eyeliner, this is how you do it, and everybody should copy how you do it. Well, in the real world, everybody's eye shape is very different, and a lot of YouTubers talking about makeup videos and how to do eyeliner, yes, that works perfectly for that particular person, but unfortunately every single individual has to tailor make their eyeliner to suit their own eye shape. One of the main things that you have to look at is eyeliner from the side, your side perspective. So by tilting the head slightly to one side, you can see, is there anything that's going to interfere with that line? For example, let's say your brow bone comes quite low at the outer corner. It comes like this. So if you push down and you try to draw a line straight through, then the line is going to break because you're taking it through a piece of skin that doesn't have firmness, or the brow bone splits your line. So you need to take it very, very low. So if you suffer from any sort of overhanging skin, then unfortunately if it's blocking the line, your flick can only be very small and not extended back. The next thing is, what angle do you take it at? Okay, for this I'm going to take a card because it's the easiest way for me to show you things to look for. If you line it up with underneath the bottom of your lashes, then you can try to see and imagine a line extending from the bottom of your eye right back. If your line is going to go too high, then you can imagine that line going straight off. Really what you're trying to do is create a feline impression with the eye. Almost in a sense, the eye becomes a little bit more of a feline almond shape. And that's what we want to try and achieve. A lot of people will say, where do you bring the flick to? So let's say your brow bone's nice and high. Let's say you have plenty of space to do eyeliner. Then how far back do you bring it? Well, every single person will have a different perspective on that. For me personally, it depends on how much drama you want around the eyes. And also, I take on board the distance from the edge of the lash line to where the edge of the brow. So if that brow was to continue down from here to here, this section is where it dictates to me how far to bring the eyeliner. I tend to bring it just about halfway. Then it doesn't look, what you don't want is to bring it too far out and create a square section on the outer section of the eye. So I like to bring it about halfway. If you're not confident with where to bring it, then mark it out before you start to go in with either your gel, your liquid, your cream, whichever product you find easier to work with. And with products, just before I start to go on and show you how to measure this out, we'll talk a little about your options. You have cream eyeliner. Cream eyeliner is great because it has a great movement. You tend to use that with an angled brush or a very fine brush. If you suffer, unfortunately, if your eye looks a little bit more hooded, that's not the product for you, because unfortunately a lot of cream eyeliners, no matter how long lasting they claim, with heat of the body, with heat of being outside, the oils within those tend to warm up and you'll start to get transfer, which means the black line will appear in the center. You also have gel liner, very good as well, and a lot of the long lasting gel liners can be fantastic, but you find that you need to be quite competent with how to use your brush for that, because those long lasting ones tend to dry really quickly. You also need to be very careful that if you do again suffer from like an overhang on the eye, that you hold the eye up firmly into place until that dries, because only when it's dry will it not have any ability to transfer into the center of the eye. You have liquid liners, which is my personal choice. I like liquid because it's nice and sharp, nice and precise. It tends not to break up, it tends not to transfer even with excessive heat, but again it depends from brand to brand as to which one you get. I find some liquid liners can be almost waxy with the finish, and in that case it can sometimes split. When you are using liquid, I find that sometimes you have to be careful if you're slightly older and concerned about the texture of your lids, that you don't make the line too thick, because again, the line will start to separate and not have that beautiful flow, because the texture of the eye is almost broken and it'll break up your line as well. So if you're worried about that, you need to keep it very, very fine. You also have pointed brushes as well, which are fantastic, almost like a pinpoint liner, which is more like a marker that you can draw across. I like them, but I never find them as intense as some of my liquid liners. So it may be a great way to start you off if it's something that you have problems with. Start off with your pinpoint, and maybe that will give you, then build your confidence to allow you then to go on to a liquid. Pencil liner. Pencil liner I find great, but I find it's better if you have quite a wide space and you can almost smudge it down. So if you are blessed with a wide distance between your lash line and your socket line, then you can put it on quite finely and smudge it into place. And again, you don't have to be overly competent to use this particular product. You just need to have the right space so that it doesn't look too smoky around the eyes if that's not the look that you're after. So let's go on and have a look at some of the angles that you can take. So I'm going to take my flat brush and a little bit of brow powder. It doesn't really matter, any sort of dark shadow, as long as it's matte. And we're going to use the card to work out the angle first. So if this angle was up here, then it's going to be very, very high. So I need to bring the angle this direction so it looks like it extends right back. So let's put a wee marker of the powder in first to see if that makes it easier for you to be able to check. And that's working really well, because I can turn around and I can bring that really easily, then extend that on. Do I want to bring it any back? I probably could extend it a little bit, but I'll leave that for the liquid whenever I go to join that in. This is a great way of testing your angle, making sure that you're happy with where you're doing it. Even take and repeat this on the other side with your two lines. It's much easier to get a little bit of eyeshadow off than it is to start removing cream, gel or liquid, because the cotton bud will take that off. Until you're happy with your two sides, then do it like this until you get used to the method, and then your confidence is there to just go straight in and do it first hand. So I'm going to lift my liquid liner. Now if I am doing statement liner, I tend to do my flicks last. Many artists will do liner completely different. In fact, you know, I could have 3 artists do Jessica's liner and have multiple ways that they see her liner ending up. So again, liner is a personal preference. All I can do is sort of give you hints and tips as to things I look for whenever I do it. And hopefully it's things that you can sort of apply to your own makeup. So the first thing is I'm using Makeup Studio's liquid liner. I love this liner for the simple fact of a couple of things. First of all, it's incredibly black, so I don't have to keep going over my line in order to build up the intensity. And the second thing is, from the tip to the edge of it is really short. So the handle is actually really short, so I find it really easy to control. Now, look straight down for me. Again, you would tilt your head back when you're doing this in the mirror yourself. There's a little fold of skin that we all have. Open your eye and look at the floor. Really finely, I put a bit of pressure, and I want the thinnest line first of all. That's all I want first. A very fine line right across the entire eye. Okay, so you can see that gives you the line. Now let's start bring that fine line right out into a point. So to do that, I'm just going to tilt the head, so look down from me. Again, make sure you don't have too much product on the end of the brush. I tend not to start with the furthest point and bring in. I tend to bring it from about halfway into the rest of the eye. There we are, a straight line. It's not really giving us that sort of almond shape. So what are we going to do? We're going to start to build it so it graduates from thin to thicker and eventually fading back into a thin point again. That's the liner I'm going for today first. So looking down. So from this halfway point, I take this and I thicken the line up till about this halfway point of the eye. So you have this almost triangular section to the outer part of the eye. And then to make this look even more elevated, what I'm going to do is extend it. Look up for me, Jessica. Here at the corner, there's another section that I can use that's going to create the illusion that the angle of the liner is actually higher. So I'm going to fill that in. Now, there's a tiny bit of a dip. Jessica has a tiny bit of skin that comes down. It kind of creates almost like a bit of a curve in with it. So what I want to do is this section here, right at the very outside corner, I want to just blend that through to alleviate that. There. See how it then looks a lot straighter? And then we're going to blend from where I stopped at the halfway point into my skinny line. So look down for me. So see how thick it gets from there. I want it just to graduate into a thinner point. Okay, so as you see, we've done this really quite strong flick on the outer corner, got into a very thin point, and then brought it in thicker and eventually then faded into thinner. So that's one way that we can do it. Then there's other ways that we can do it. We can turn around and we can make this a lot bolder on the outside corners, really thicken it up. So let's try that. So looking down for me, I can bring this in and almost create a slight, what's called a bat wing. That means it creates almost like the edge of the wing of a bat. It kind of thickens the line. So I scoop the line straight across and then I bring it down to create that shape. Again, I'm able then to thicken this section here to make the flick look more dramatic. Then again, where I stopped there, I just need to fade that out. Look down for me. Just keep looking down a second, just let that dry a minute. Keep looking down. Again, this looks great, but if I wanted to elongate the liner even more, I could take a little bit of the liner and bring it from here and blend that into the bottom very, very finely. And this is probably as dramatic as I would go, especially as there's no other eye makeup. I mean, ideally when you're going this dramatic with your eyeliner, you would want to have, you know, quite a sort of dramatic eyeshadow going through the socket line and really smoking the eye out, especially in the center, just to give the eye a little bit more shape. You know, even looking at this by itself, once you start to even take, and I'm just going to lift a little bit of the brow powder and show you what it looks like if you were to blend, because it makes more sense, I feel, whenever you put a little bit of brow powder through the socket and kind of blend that section together. Now, I would always tend to do my eye makeup first and then finish with the liner, and if you need to extend it, that's fine. But it really, really widens the shape of the eye. Makes the eye look very, very long. If that's what you're after, I mean, sometimes it's fun just to play and manipulate the actual shape that you can bring your eye, and how many different sort of styles of eye makeup you can create on the one eye shape. Okay, so yeah, with the eyeshadow brought through it, you can see how long, even by comparison to the other side, this is very delicate, but you can see how rounded this side is. You can see how long we've managed to manipulate the eye and make the eye look by extending both the eyeliner and then add one eyeshadow color just through the socket line. So hopefully that's give you a few tips as to what style to go for, how to look at your own eye shape, how to interpret your own eye shape, and how to just sit and practice. Unfortunately, eyeliner is one of those things where you really do need to sit down with a very close handheld mirror, a couple of tools, different types of liners, so maybe get an angle brush, maybe get a gel, a liquid, and have a play about and see which one you find much easier for your own shape of eye, and have fun trying to create more of a feline flick to your eye makeup. Okay, hopefully see you in our next tutorial. Remember to subscribe below, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you.